right, man. We are back. We are back at it. We are back at it on a Sunday vibe, B. A Sunday vibe. It's been a long day in the trenches today. A long day in the trenches. Long night too. How is everybody who's out there doing tonight, man? I hope everybody's well. Had a good weekend, man. Enjoyed the nice weather, whether it was raining, sunny, or just gloomy. You know what I'm saying? I hope everything was good. But we got some stuff to talk about today, man. Hove set the internet ablaze last night. You know what I mean? A lot of people, a lot of Aubrey Angels, a lot of Barbs, a lot of Hove haters, a lot of possible hip hop haters. What's good, Serge? A lot of people were really against what was not even against, but really had a lot to say. Some good, some bad. And once again, everybody is entitled to their opinion. But I feel like whenever Hove does pop out to play, people are like, you can't keep getting away with it. And people are real upset, especially when they come at their mans. You know what I'm saying? When they come at Drake, they're like, you're stomping on Drake's Iceman time. Iceman, Drake, charts. But it's deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people really don't actually enjoy hip hop and they're more or less fans of their specific artist, which is kind of crazy because to Hole's point, which he said in the GQ interview, which a lot of people are going to take that clip and run with it and be like, this guy said battle rap wasn't good for hip hop. And then he jumps on stage and let's just remind y'all that he addressed everything that people said about him on stage one time. No album, no records, no nothing. It was just a 3-minute video. Let's see, we got it up right now because we're going to play it again and talk about it a little bit. But what, a 3-minute video, dog? Just, addressing the stuff that's been said about him over the time and taking his jabs and doing the subliminal things that Jay does. Because once again, at the end of the day, this is hip hop. This is literally hip hop, dog. Like, I don't understand why people are getting their panties in a bunch, you know what I'm saying, getting upset and then, acting like Hole's too old to do this because now we're getting the age thing out there. You know what I'm saying? We doing ageism right now. We claiming Hove got a hairpiece on, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's fact or fiction, man. You know what I'm saying? I have no idea. But fact or true or false, sorry. It's a long day. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long day, but we don't know if that's true or false, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about all that. I just care about what dudes be doing all these beats and what dudes are doing for like hip hop and stuff like that. And people just really aren't feeling what Jay said. Now, I think it's because he addressed a lot of things. And, I also feel like it's because people can't wave their hands and do the TikTok dances and sing along with it. You know what I'm saying? Not everything is meant to be singing along and all that. Now, I know the world thinks that hip hop has been saved by the guy who sings a lot, but aka Aubrey, and the Aubrey Angels are definitely in full effect about this. But there's more to hip hop than Drake. You feel me? There's definitely more to hip hop than Drake, and it's pretty interesting to watch and see within 24 hours. And what Jay's done, you can tell what really shifts the culture versus what is organically or not organically, but machine bot, stream bot, you know what I mean, all that. Because here we are 2 weeks later, some change, and like the memes, the TikTok dances, those are starting to slow down. Those are definitely starting to slow down low key. Now, I haven't heard as many people playing, and it's been nice out. Now, I haven't heard a lot of people playing a lot of the Aubrey songs out their cars like they was doing the first week. Not a lot of people are talking about it like they was after the first week. There's a lot of downward things going on with this Iceman shit. You know what I mean? And what's funny, what I'm also gonna mention is that it's crazy how Hove can do one little performance on a stage at a picnic and cause this much of a frenzy, and homie dropped 3 albums, 48 songs or whatever, and we're barely talking about those now. And then on top of that, it's wonderful to see that the conversation about what Jay's did has been a lot more digestible because, remember, like the next day, it took people a few days, a couple of days, you know what I'm saying, or, a whole week to be like, I really like this Drake album and all this stuff like that. And then meanwhile, kind of similar to when GNX dropped, it's a next day effect. And I think that's what's really impactful about what hip hop artists do versus what a man who I think personally cosplays as a hip hop artist, which is fine. Music's still solid, things are still good. You can still bump and wave your hands, but I see that there's a clear difference between hip hop artists and Drake. I'm just gonna put it like that, hip hop artists and Drake, and it's showing. It's clearly showing, and then that's why I always ask: are people actually fans of hip hop, or are they just fans of people like Drake, or if they're fans of a Kendrick or an Eminem or whatever? Like, are you an artist first, or are you hip hop first? I always say that myself. I am a hip hop fan first before I am a fan of any set artist. And once again, this is a guy who talks saying about Eminem as the GOAT. He's my GOAT. LL Cool J is my 1B. So Jay's not even in my like GOAT discussion. You know what I'm saying? He's great, but he's not my GOAT. You know what I mean? My GOATs are LL Cool J and Eminem. You know what I mean? It's vice versa. It don't really matter. Like I can put LL 1B, 1A sometimes, and I can put M 1B. It all depends on how I'm feeling that day. But in general, I love this hip hop culture. I love this hip hop shit. And I respect the craft of every artist way too much to be a fan of one thing and then just hate on the rest of it. Now, we can have the discourse and stuff like that. That's obviously fine. That's nothing wrong with having the discourse. But the way these fans are, the way the internet is, and the way the Aubrey Angels are, the way the Barbies are, the way the Stans are, the way a lot of people are, man, it just shows that they don't appreciate the culture as much, in my opinion. This is my opinion. This ain't really, something that people got to jack or whatever. But I got the camera on. I'm gonna talk about it. But we're gonna get into this Jay-Z, responding to a bunch of people because the headlines are right now, and I'm falling for it too. I'm playing the game too. Are he's coming at Drake, which those were definitely the standout bars, but obviously the Dame bars, the Bugsby bars, you know what I'm saying, like the Jaguar, the Lauryn Hill ones. There's a bunch of other things, the poking up Un and shit, those things. You stabbed the chick over Charlie Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a whole bunch of things to unpack from it, but it's one of those things where people are expecting this to be lyrical miracle because people would be like, it wasn't that dope. It was pretty mid. I don't think it was meant to be something that he was spitting hot fire. He was just doing his acapella shit and addressing things that he heard. And I'm gonna keep screaming that every single time that he was addressing things that he heard from what other people were saying out their mouths, what they were saying on their records. You know what I mean? And like once again, the hip hop bad for culture thing, that was the Basquiat Lock Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? We got Afro, whether you want to call them Hove and Harmony. Shout out Mickey Fax for that. Or like I said, what I'm saying, Hove Soul, aka Ab Soul things. You know what I'm saying? He was looking real different with the fro. But that just tells me we about to get the fade. We about to get the fade Jay again. We about to get that 2009 and before Jay, you know what I'm saying, when it was just the low cut. We about to get the low cut Jay, which I'm all here for because once again, we need real rap back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know Drake is he's the guy, and like, he moves the needle a little bit when it comes to these numbers and everybody wants to Drake stimmy, but y'all know what y'all really be feeling. You know what I'm saying? I don't truly believe that people be feeling what Drake been doing. A lot of people just been switching up tone because it's been a long time. But either way, we're gonna revisit this Drake, this Jay-Z freestyle again. We're gonna talk about it a little bit more. There's a lot of Jay things I gotta get off my chest, but I just wanted to give you guys a little excerpt about that, you know what I'm saying, to just start off with that. So here we go, man. If you here for the vibes, man, like that button, hit that like button, subscribe for the vibes, and let's talk about some rap today, y'all. Let's talk about some rap.
The leprechauns have magically run out of praise.
Tory Lanez, my bad.
Mumbling something about having too much in his drink. You know how dumb that is? Another one fumbled his, wonder how I get the blame. Niggas' teeth is tumbling out their mouth, and somehow I'm the one who done it. It's a murder mystery game.
It's a murder mystery. Remember the TV show back in the day, the murder mysteries and shit. But Dame, you know what I'm saying? The Dame shots. People are complaining about Jay coming at people that have been literally talking about him for years. And Ho's been chilling for like 10 years. Ho's been chilling for like 10 years, and it's clear that he's been paying attention. It's clear that Ho's been paying attention, dog. He's been seeing what's going on in these streets out here. He's been seeing what's going on. And you can't be mad at that. You can't be mad. This is rap. This is hip hop. He's a rapper. He's subliminal, Jay. It's what he's supposed to do.
You had to cash cow and thunk it. Was you who punked his? I'm the one who strung the pain. That hill you can die on. There's way too much flack that comes from those planes. I'm killing them softly. What's understood don't.
That's a Lauryn Hill bar right there. You know what I'm saying? Killing them softly bars right there. Now I'm trying to peep why there's a lot of Lauryn Hill references in here. Like, I didn't think there was any smoke, but he also said, y'all niggas still signing deals for real at the audit and stove for real. Look at what they did to all Lauren Hill. So I don't understand what that part is, or maybe he's just kind of referencing that in a good way. So I don't think it's disrespect, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Need to be explained. You want it one way, it's the other. I still on you suckers, I'm all of you niggas gang. I ain't much for me, it's know how.
I love a lot of rappers doing Marlo from the Wire bars and stuff like that. Shout out to the Wire show. You know what I'm saying? That's fire.
To the brunches, I remember the hunger pain. The gang, I ain't much for me, it's know how. Cancel the brunches, I remember the hunger pain. The price of the bricks going up. It's gonna cost you a B to even say my name.
And shout out to my brother Domo, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Domo. Now, I was, once again, I was just too excited last night when I was reacting to this in real time. I was very excited because, once again, I just came off the game 7. But, obviously that's B's on the table. B's, Drake, he's a real billionaire. Drake's talking this B talk, but that's, I was assuming Beyonce as well. But Say My Name, Beyonce song. Shout out DF Domo. If you ever want to go sub to my man's channel, go sub to that as well, too. But Domo put me on to that. I didn't catch that in real time. Like, we honest over here. You know what I'm saying? We honest. we keep it real. Big facts, Serge. Big facts. What up, Noah?
You ever heard of a wonder kid? My children is some of them. Have you niggas no shame? Y'all trying to get under skin? I really get under skin. As unharmed player.
That's from the Dear Summer freestyle as well too. In case people didn't know when I first did this, when I said, I just flips it on ya. I don't talk shit. I just flips it on ya. Or he could be referencing, which he ain't referencing it, but Cam also did say though that Jay doesn't love hip hop as much as Nas, and I don't know if this has anything to do with that, but Cam did say that. He did say it. He did say it. But you know what I'm saying? You stabbed the chick over Charlie Baltimore.
Y'all thugs with y'all thumbs again. Everybody think they're the ones insane. You're no maniac. Watch y'all saniac in my presence, nigga, straight. I need a new therapist. This shit is not working. I'm truly on the brink. Y'all better not encourage him. Y'all don't want me to think these thoughts that I think. That nut-ass nigga still stuttering. That chatty patty down on his luck again.
Chatty Patty. That Chatty Patty down on his luck again. Now, you could be talking about a few people in that. You know what I'm saying? He could be referencing a few people, but obviously because of the Chatty Patty, and homie been doing a lot of Chatty Patty things after he talked about being a Chatty Patty, which is very strange, but, it is what it is. Dame's down on his luck again. You know what I'm saying? Things are looking bad for Dame. So that's, once again, I don't think that's ever going to happen either, too. Like, them making up. I just don't see it because it just seems like there's a lot of background personal things, and Dame's just Dame, too. Like, Dame is on some shit. So it makes sense.
Quest introducing me to Jaguar. I don't know why I still fuck with him.
The Seth Rogen laugh with Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? He's really laughing about that. That's funny though, because obviously Jag did the Piers Morgan thing. Jag was doing a lot of her conspiracy tinfoil hat conversations on a lot of platforms, which we all loved it for entertainment purposes, but notice how it died down after the Piers Morgan things. Now, conspiracists would say it's because Jay shut it down because he's trying to hide things. You got DJ academics out here bringing those things back up again, because once again, the Aubrey Angels go in full effect, and he's talking about, he's on the watch and he's been with weirdos and all this shit like that. Once again, I don't know these dudes, you know what I mean? So for me, it's still about the music, but this is why I wonder if people are actually hip hop fans or are they just angels for their specific people? This is why I asked that. And then also, those that be questioning how we got the fro and all this shit like that, you can comb these things out, right? Like, listen, I'm a man with some locks myself. You can comb them out, y'all. You can comb this shit out. It is very possible to look like that after you comb out some wicks. You know what I'm saying? It's very possible. For those that are not seasoned enough, for those that don't understand how the hair works, you can comb them out. It takes a long fucking time, but you can comb them out. You can comb them out because, once again, you don't know how long ago those interviews were and when they was recorded as well, because Jay be behind the scenes and shit. You don't see Jay too much, so you can comb them out. Just saying, just putting that out there, because it's a lot of hairpiece talks and stuff, which I don't know. I don't pay attention to that because I don't really care. But I'm just gonna speak on how the fact you can comb out locks. You ain't gotta do the Jada Pinkett from Set It Off and just cut them off and have the little peanut head. You ain't gotta do that. You can literally do this.
That lady back on the stuff, she sound like she in love with him. Her kids
Nikki,
take their kids. Enough of them. A rap
Now I've seen online that Nicki was stutter. Now this is the part that went over my head too. I was like, why did he kind of stutter step like that? But that's because Nicki did her shit. But I was also peeping the bar because once again, her man's is one of those people or whatever he was is one of them type of dudes that's on the list. You know what I'm saying? He got the weird cases and shit, and he can't go to certain places. Once again, I worked a concert, so like, I seen things. You know what I'm saying? Not seen things in that way, but I'm just saying there was things that I didn't know that had to be in play for a person like that if he was being around. So, once again, people want to be pointing fingers at Hove, but there's people that are actively with people with weird cases as well too, and weird things going on just from observation. You know what I mean? Like, ain't homie on record? Ain't homie on? Ain't she got two people on record? She got two people on record. That's a little weird with strange cases, right? I'm just saying.
can't be my eye. I got MAGA Republicans. Them shots came from the very top of the government. Good luck with them. I'm governed by God. You trying to break the government. I prayed for 40 days. My neck get flooded again. Wrists get flooded again. My net worth went up again. My next update, the jig is up.
Jig is
Nigga,
up.
I'm up 10. Wrong chart, champ. You gotta look up again. Niggas look up to Hove. I never looked up to them.
That's a bar right there. You know what I'm saying? That's a bar. And a lot of people be like, I don't know what Jay was talking about. Yada yada yada. I'd be like, damn, like, yo, there's a lot of hot dog eating out here, B. There's a lot of hot dog eating when it comes to the Aubrey Angels. And I think that's why a lot of people just hate these conversations sometimes, because like dudes just don't respect the craft and just want to eat hot dogs all day. Just saying.
The crackers got your publishing gangster. Go talk tough to them. Don't talk success to me. You niggas is workers. In perpetuity is how your contract is worded. Don't make me go first.
I never seen a worker wear so many jewels. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's been talking that y'all niggas is worker talk for a long time, imaginary player times and everything. Like, it's just one of those things, Once again, we ain't behind the scenes. We don't know what's in these deals and stuff like that. But Hove ain't had that problem his whole career. A lot of artists had that problem, but Hove never really had that problem. I'm just putting it out there. Like, Hove was one of those few artists that never really had that problem. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
To me, you niggas is workers. In perpetuity is how your contract is worded. Don't make me go first. Man. The roots remember, even when the trees pretend, not too much of my name. Don't forget who I am. Hattie loves her Shawnees. S-H-A-W-N.
Big facts, man. Too soft and too moist.
She put the S
Big
at the end.
facts.
You don't know, the show ain't even begin. I said, you
said, you don't know.
The show ain't
The show ain't even
begin.
You don't know what to do. And the funny thing is, even that's a little subliminal shot too, because you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do with yourself. You don't know what to do with your situation and shit. Like, that's just how I'm reading it. I'm gonna dig deeper. I'm gonna pull a little bit further with that. But hey, man, listen. Hove had a lot to say, and anybody who's moist or feels upset with like how Hove had to address whatever he had to address, that just means it struck a nerve, and the Hove hate is real. You know what I mean? That's all I'm looking at, is that the Hove hate is real, and people just are just more or less fans of their favorite artist, and they don't like when their favorite artist's armor gets chinked a little bit. You know what I'm saying? There's a little chink in the armor and shit. There's a little bit of a boop. And it's just like, damn, my guy got exposed. Because the truth is that there's a reason why Hove's a Billy. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why a lot of artists are broke, is from what Hove says. Hove says a lot of artists are broke. Hove ain't broke, right? Am I wrong? Am I right or wrong? Let me know down in the chat. Let me know in the comments below. But Hove is Hove for a reason, man. You gotta respect Hove. Like, I've grown and matured to kind of respect Hove, on a level of craft and a level of business. Now, has the dealings been a little funky? Sure. I'm not gonna act like that's not the case. It definitely was a little funky with the deals and shit. You're like, damn, Jay, you kind of stepped on a lot of niggas to get where you at. Like, we ain't gonna deny that, but we also don't know the backstory of it. We always hear really one side. We hear the people that are mad. You don't really hear Hope's side too much. And then there's obviously the truth. You know what I'm saying? There's always three sides to a story. Like, I'm big on that as well too. There's three sides to a story. There's like, one side, the other side, and the truth. You know what I mean? And most of the time we get the people that are upset in their story and everything else. So, and then once again, I think homie got on stage, like, Beanie Siegel, who had the most smoke with Jay. You know what I'm saying? He had the most smoke with Jay outside of Dame because of business dealings. And if there's reconciliation and things can be fixed, that says a lot as well too. Meek Mill was on there. I seen, once again, RB Angels be in the comments talking crazy and was like, yeah, Meek Mill said this. I'm like, but Meek Mill was just on stage with homie. So like, I don't know if that how accurate whatever you're talking about is, because the Angels is wild, but the whole hate is very unnecessary. It is very misplaced, and it makes me question if people actually love hip hop versus just loving a set artist. Like, and this has been the last 2 years. This has nothing to do with this whole situation, whatever. But every time you see discourse between somebody that mentions their favorite artist, but in this time it's about Aubrey, it seems like people are just more fans of the artist than the actual culture that things are built on. And like LL Cool J speaks on this a lot as well too. And like LL don't get the respect that he deserves these days in like the new era of like rap fandom or whatever. And like that's why I think we always lose track of what hip hop's about too, because nobody respects the people before them. And I think that also started in the 2010s, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? I started recognizing that myself in the 2010s, where the lack of respect for what came before was very prevalent, and that's the reason why the quality of music is the way it is now. That's why you get so many microwave type of sounds, microwave albums, microwave singles, because there's a lost art in emceeing, what I'm saying, being a master of ceremonies. There's a lost art in respecting the history that came before. Like, you can't be like, I love hip hop, but then you just don't know certain artists from the 80s, from the 90s. You got to respect the pioneers. That's how I really look at hip hop as well, too. You have to be able to respect the pioneers in order for you to kind of grow and become one of those dope artists. Now, yeah, you can be dope because the machine's gonna push you, or you got, thousands, millions of followers, thousands of followers, so you can get into the algorithm game. But it shows there's a crack in hip hop in that aspect, in my opinion. I don't think a lot of people talk about that as much. Maybe they do. I still pay attention to it as much. But the fact that there's no respect for the ones before you, there's always going to be a reason why hip hop is gonna sound that way, especially with the newer generation. Like, I'm big on, I guess I'm an old guy, like get off my lawn stuff type of shit, because I respect the old school. I grew up on the old school. I grew up in the golden era of rap. I didn't grow up in the streaming era of rap. I didn't grow up as Drake being my GOAT, you know what I'm saying? And I say Eminem's my GOAT, but I also grew up with like the Diggable Planets, dog, you know what I'm saying? Like Wu-Tang, like, you know, not Eminem, sorry, fucking Biggie, Tupac, Big Daddy Kane, man, Rakim, like, Public Enemy, NWA, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Cypress Hill. Like, there's so many countless artists that I feel like people have either disrespected, don't know about, never dug into, or anything like that, but then say that they love hip hop. And then they say that, the 1990s names, 1998s and 2000s names, like, the Eminems, the Lil Waynes, the Drakes, you know what I'm saying, Kanye and shit like that. And it's like, all right, that's cool. You can like them. We're not saying that you can't like them, but to not say stuff from the 80s and the 90s and like pull certain artists like, Redman's even, what I'm saying, the Method Man's, like, you can't pull from other fucking places, dog. Like, and I'm not saying I know every single hip hop artist from even back then in certain days, because I have my people too. But like like I always say, like the first song that I really liked is like certain eras in my life where I banged with a lot of shit. But like Onyx was one of those first songs that, like, Onyx was one of those first groups that I banged with when they had Slam, you know what I'm saying? Like, I fucked with them, you know what I mean? And Diggable Planets, I love Cool like that. Then when I was old enough to be able to buy my own CDs and listen to my own shit, I started dabbling with like down south rappers like Master P and No Limit in them, you know what I mean? Then I was over here messing with DMX, and those are the first two fucking tapes that I ever bought with the parental advisory sticker on it and stuff like that. So there's always levels of where you grow hip hop, but a lot of people, especially in these spaces, seem to only start from Eminem. And maybe it's because, the internet, no offense, might be, a white space, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to hip hop, even though, it can be music and we can all band together. But it just seems like a lot of people pull from those places first, and then they don't know a lot about those other things like that. And it shows, you know what I'm saying? But those are the people that take over the waves and try to shift the culture a different way. But, the real ones know. The real ones know. They can't change what hip hop was, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't change what hip hop was. You can't even bring up Ice-T and shit. You can bring up so many artists that I feel like if you really respected the culture, you would know about these artists, you would respect these artists, and you would try to like take a little bits and pieces from all those artists and become a great hip hop artist yourself. So with that note, man, that's where we're sticking with the whole talk for that. We got another whole talk, but I just wanted to do my own whole talk with this one as well too. But we got another one because I need to see what homie got to say. I got to see what homie got to say as well too, and I want to see if this is very close to what I'm feeling and how I'm feeling because I feel like he always keeps it straight down the middle. So we're gonna get into that next minute. If you lurking to smirk and hit that button, don't forget to like the video, hype the video, subscribe for the vibes. We here for a good time, not a long time. We out of here. Peace. You don't know what to do. What we say here in the chat, y'all. Jay still got it. Age ain't doing them in. Not at all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Age ain't doing none of our favorite hip hop artists in, and that's what I hate about hip hop as well too, because it seems like people want to have a cutoff age, but and this is a very popular conversation. Every other genre does not have a cutoff age. Dudes be 80 years old, still performing, still doing whatever they do in their genre, and there's no problem. But for some reason in hip hop, we be wanting people to be done by 40, by 30. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, like, that was always the narrative. Like, trust me, like, I'm pushing 30, you kicking 40s, door down. So, if you 30 and still rapping, I guess that back then it was whack. But as you see, all these people at 50 something years old rapping still. So I don't believe in it being a young man's game anymore. Being an older fella myself now is definitely not a young man's game, especially when you hear the quality in music and stuff. And I think the older an artist is, the better the raps are because they have more life experiences, they have more things to talk about. You may not relate, you know what I'm saying? But you can still take game. Like, not enough people really want to take game from your elders, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lack of respect for your elders these days. You feel me, sirs? There's definitely a lack of respect for a lot of your elders and stuff like that. And it's kind of crazy. Like, it used to be outside of music, obviously, but now it shows in music. And I don't know if that's the internet's fault because everybody has a voice and everybody can state their opinions or what. But the respect for your elders has definitely changed in rap for sure. It's disgusting. You have to be a hip hop fan first before being an artist fan. Otherwise, you're kind of fake. That's a fact, bro. But there's a lot of people like that, Serge. There's a lot of people that are fans of artists first and do not respect the craft or the art of hip hop. It's just how it is. There's conversations I didn't have with some people where I'm like, do you really like this hip hop, this rap shit like that? Because I asked, remember, I used to do interviews with certain people and stuff like that, and I have my questions, and I only ask the questions, not as bait, but I like to just see where your hip hop knowledge is, where you stand with the culture for real. And a lot of people want to be like, oh, the independent this, the independent, and like, once again, there's no disrespect to the independent artists. I love independent artists, you know what I'm saying, especially like the ones that I come across on this channel. But if you try to twist the narrative and make it seem like the independent artists do something different than the mainstream artists, that tells me more than that tells me a lot and tells me what I already need to know as well. What else you said? I'm not a fan of anyone. I'm a fan of the culture. The only thing I have for the artist is respect in their craft. I don't cater to no one, and I sure as hell don't glaze. And that, what's funny though is we all got our moments where we glaze, or and I hate that term, but that's the term that the kids use today. But we all have our moment when we become fans of our favorite artists. Like, I have favorite artists. I have my top 5 and my go-tos, but the hip hop culture overall overrides that for me. Like, I am on record multiple times saying I'm not a Jay guy, but I will listen to every Jay album. I will bump everything that Jay will drop and be like, okay, I like this and I don't like this, just like with any artist. No artist is exempt from me to like everything, you know what I'm saying, or dislike it. Like, I don't have to like every single thing and I can still be a fan. Both can happen. But it seems like in this world, the internet has made hip hop not fun in that regard because you have to like every single thing that the artist does or says or whatever or drops. And if not, you're just a hater. But if you like it, you're a glazer. You know what I'm saying? And I think you can, have a middle ground. You can have a balance of it because if you like everything, I think you're just lying to yourself. Like, once again, Eminem's my GOAT. And I don't like certain albums of Eminem's. You know what I'm saying? I don't like a lot of songs that Eminem drops. Eminem has a lot of music. So when I say that, I don't mean that, but I don't like any of his things. But he has so much music that you're going to have some misses, dog. Like, you're going to have things that's just not for you. And I think that's what makes the art so good, is that you can be like, damn, this was great. And then you can be like, well, I don't really like that one too much, or I'm not feeling that. That's what makes it great. Jay got plenty of that. Tupac got plenty of that. Biggie got a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jay with the internet standard has everything sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, Nas got a bunch of those. You hear people talk about Nas don't got proper beats and shit. And like sometimes I agree, sometimes I disagree. But for the overall, overall I like it. Like J. Cole. I ain't like J. Cole until the Fall Off album. You know what I'm saying? And I still wouldn't say I like him. You know what I'm saying? He's not somebody I'm just popping in all the time or going back to revisit a lot of stuff because I know what I heard back then. I just wasn't feeling it. But when you get older and you give stuff a chance, you can find something that you gonna like. You feel me? I don't know why people are trying to discredit Jay on this acapella freestyle. It's actually good. I mean, it's not the best I heard, but it's not bad. Like, yeah, the people that are saying that's bad are literally just people that probably are fans of either Arbery, you know what I'm saying, Barbie, the Barbs, or they just hate Jay. You know what I'm saying? I call it the Hove hate. The Hove hate could be very real. You know what I'm saying? People that dislike Hove will get on the line and say a lot of things. And people are just, once again, being a hater and being negative will get you a lot more clicks in this like space that we are in than just keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? There's people that keep it real, but there's not a lot of people that's going to keep it real because they know what the hate will do. They know what type of stuff it will generate. You know what I mean? Like for me, like, I'm not saying I'm the realest nigga ever, but when I anytime I pop on a camera or put my phone in my face, like I'm just giving my honest assessment of how I'm viewing things. You don't gotta agree with me. It can sound crazy to you, it can be wild to you, but it's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But it's not really coming from a hateful place. It's coming more or less from like, yeah, this just ain't really it. But once again, this is the type of world that we've created, especially through social media, is that people have to be extra, extra hateful, extra negative, won't give no credit. You know what I mean? Like that always will prevail. I mean, hate always wins more over love or honesty anyway. I don't know why we're built like that in society, but that's just how it goes. Everyone is too soft and moist nowadays. Like, bruh, are we real? Are we for real? People can't handle critique or facts? Nah, no, you can't because once you aren't on the grain of what everybody else is on, because this is a shared opinion world, you know what I mean? And if you find the people that fuck with your opinion, you're winning. If you go against the popular opinion or the trend, or I should say the trending opinion, if you go against the trending opinion, you're a hater or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. Like there's a lot of there's a lot of moist stuff that goes on out here, man, especially when you get into the internet space and talk about music. That's why hip hop conversations have been kind of dead these days because nobody's really keeping it real anymore. And then, a lot of people probably ain't never really been in the barbershops, because these conversations like this stem from being in the barbershops. Like, I'm old enough to remember all these conversations that we see people trying to make online come from barbershops. But there was a disconnect between a certain generation versus a generation before because those people had online now. They were finger warriors and they were able to just like hide behind fake profile pictures and fake accounts or whatever. So it kind of reshifted the game, which Jay is right in that regard when he was talking about the rap beef and the battle isn't fun because when the fans get involved because everybody has a voice, you get to paint narratives, you get to paint a picture, you get to say certain things, and if people agree with it and see it or repost it, retweet it, whatever, it just takes on a whole different beast within itself. So like, though I didn't agree with Hope's comments in that regard, you know what I'm saying? But I seen what he was talking about. That's what kind of ruins hip hop conversations, be. That's why I'm trying to bring it back. That's why I'm trying to bring back the authenticity and the essence of like conversations about rap. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of like let's go viral things and looking for that dopamine of saying some wild shit. And you can tell. You know what I'm saying? You can tell.